What's up?
Hello,
Live
More than
stream
lady.
people. There's a little delay on the chat, just so you guys know. Hello, hello, hello. It's about a 10-second delay. That's just so moderators can scoop up spoilers if they happen. And yeah, you guys have blown us away.
Yeah.
With the amount of support and the amount of just general kindness, enthusiasm.
Yes.
Your fandom is crazy. It gives my Lord of the Rings fandom a run for its money. I'll tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, this is live. 100% live.
Heck yeah. Here we go.
If there's anything wrong with the audio or if there's anything wrong with the video, just let us know and we'll get to fixing it right away. Just to put that out there. And when we start the lore and histories, if the lore and histories is too loud or too low, just let us know and we'll change it on if everyone's content with it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Besides that, what? I don't even know. So there is quite a few little things that they brought up. It just remind us of the few things that you had wanted us to discuss too from the premiere, because they all just evaporated, and I was like trying to like pin them to see them, but then like the whole chat just disappeared. So if there's any questions you want to ask us or anything like that, just let us know. They like your tiara.
Oh, you do?
Yep, and we bought Game of Thrones. She
Yeah.
chose
Yeah.
the
It's a
House Targaryen.
Yes, I don't know if you guys can see.
I haven't chosen, to be honest, because I'm torn. All right.
Thank you about my tiara. Thank you very much. Flattery.
Leverage between the Starks and the Lannisters.
Yes.
And thank you. Leverage between the Starks and the Lannisters. Exactly what you want us to discuss with that, because I understand where. Why insist on it? I don't think you need to. I'm not insistent on keeping their engagement between them. So definitely not 100% insistent. That's what you're asking. Oh yeah. Yeah, 100%. I don't like you were mentioning the leverage part. I don't know what I'm unsure what the like having to like marry her and then have a child with her, how that's important. But maybe I don't have enough context yet. Or maybe I'm just missing something. And if you're trying not to spoil something, then just let me figure it out eventually, you know. What is your thoughts?
Well, if
Joffrey
impregnates Sansa, then that leaves more incentive that Rob has to bend the knee.
I have a map. I can rip out a map real quick.
You saved it somewhere.
Yeah. I saved the map. I don't know how that's gonna... I don't know where I put the map, to be honest. Joffrey.
I always say it wrong.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get these names down, but it's a tricky puzzle. Joffrey.
I have too many files, and I don't know where I put it.
Just look one up.
Well, I don't want to look one up again when I already found one. Oh, maybe it's in temp photos. Yes.
There we go.
Mapping.
Mappage.
Okay. I'll keep it in the back of my mind. That that is something to remember for sure. And I'll try to re to come at it again. Because I definitely I'm very unsure about what that means. So I'll definitely reevaluate it probably in another episode coming up. But yeah, this map, holy.
It's massive.
Well, it's a giant. I'm just impressed with the detail on it, to be honest. White Harbor, the Wolf's Wood. We've heard about that. The Vassal talk about it. When the time is right, we definitely will. Um, we're gonna get into the lore and histories in probably a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But if you guys want to ask any other questions before we get into that and start watching, just swing away and we'll try to hit it.
Mm-hmm. Bear Island.
Oh, Bear Island. That's where
Yeah.
Jorah Mormont's from.
Mm-hmm.
Mormont Keep. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know if this question is a spoiler or if you guys can answer it. But or if it was already mentioned, but because the Lord Commander is a Mormont and his son was Jorah, was he banished because of his son's bad deeds? Is that a spoiler to ask? Oh yes, thank you. Yes, I didn't even think to ask that, but if you want to like um okay, so it wasn't related to his son. Okay, he chose to serve. Okay. That's interesting. So there's no like greater meaning behind that. Okay. What would you have Rob do if not become an independent kingdom? Get to King's Landing and just get Sansa and Ned's bones, remove Joffrey from the throne, and leave the king who is king and queen. Um, if not become an independent kingdom. It would depend if Rob didn't want to take that offer from his bannermen. Um, I think the only other option would be to pledge fealty to Stannis, like they were debating in the meeting. Um, I don't think there really is only two options, and the second option only appeared because his bannermen allowed it to. I don't think Rob is a character who would um, be like, make me king.
Mm-mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think he would do
Even
that.
when they have that dinner, he was silent about it.
Okay. He was already on the wall when the things with Jorah happened. So was Jorah leading? Like, Jorah was the Lord of, or whatever they call someone who is a lord of a castle of Bear Island. Okay. I don't think he would pick Joffrey. I think he'd die over picking Joffrey. There's no, I don't see any scenario where he picks Joffrey. Yeah. Yeah. I just remembered that he was the Lord there. So I didn't put two and two together until I like start talking. That's another thing. Like once I can watch something, right? But then as soon as I start talking about it in the end, everything starts making sense. So we pretty much discover like half of the things in the show in the breakdown because we start talking about stuff and then like
It all
we
makes sense.
it all makes sense because we start breaking it down and be like, "Oh, that's why that happened." And it's like, "Oh, okay." Um Final questions and I'm going to pop over to
Histories and lore.
yes.
Oh.
This is interesting. What the heck is this area?
I don't know. Skagos? Skagos?
There's so much stuff, and I'm not even crossing the sea yet. That is a whole nother bag of worms. I don't even want to know.
Bag of worms.
Like, this over here is enough. I don't know if that's sarcasm or not. Skagos is interesting. It might be. I don't want to know. I'll know when I'm supposed to know about these things. Or if I never am supposed to know, then I'll figure it out eventually. Because once we're completely done with the series, guys, we're going to hit lore videos like you've never seen. We are going to become lore nerds.
Lore nerds.
After this.
Stop
but until then, we're not doing that. We're going to go with the show and figure it out in the show. And then probably read the books and do content about the books. But
is that enough length for you? That's all I got.
I'll try. I'll back up a little.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's kind of stretching it. There you go. Okay. I put my blanket down.
Well, I have to be able to use my mouse too.
Yeah.
Oh boy. You guys are. Yeah, we're only doing histories and lore, the first part, obviously. And from what I've gathered from the people I've talked to about this, it doesn't spoil anything. And if it did, like the histories and lore did spoil something, I'm definitely gonna forget about it because my memory is like a mouse. Just so you know. All right, let's get into it.
Okie dokies.
I'm gonna do a test start and just holler out if um yep. Thank you for everyone for being here. I'm gonna do a little test just so you guys what am I trying to say? God damn it.
If anyone is
No, if the audio is fine. If the audio is bad, let me know and we'll restart from the beginning. Okay? And we're gonna try to stop briefly between each section to catch up on
in the dawn age
comments.
of Westeros, before the coming of man and the raising of castles and cities, there were only the children of the forest. Little is known of them now, but it is said they were small in stature, dark and beautiful, and no taller than children when grown to manhood. They lived in the depths of the forests and hidden villages, crannogs and caves. They hunted with weirwood bows and armed themselves with blades of obsidian. Their wise men were called green seers and were possessed of powerful magic. They worshipped nameless, faceless gods of the forest, stream and stone. According to legend, it was they who carved faces in the great white trunks of the majestic weirwoods.
Okay.
Their deep-cut eyes were red with sap and ever watchful.
So those are the werewood trees that they
12,000 years
worship
ago,
for the
the
old
first
gods.
men came from the eastern continent, crossing a land bridge called the Arm of Dawn. Riding their great horses and wielding weapons of bronze, they cut down the children's forests and weirwoods. A terrible war raged between the children and the first men that lasted for centuries. At long last, the two races sought an end to the years of horror and bloodshed.
Okay.
They met on a small isle in the centre of a great lake called the God's Eye. It was there they
I've heard
forged the
that.
pact. The first men would be
think
granted
Tywin
dominion
Lannister
over
said
the
that.
coastlands, the mountains, the high plains and the bogs, but the deep forest would forever belong to the children, and no weirwood tree would ever again fall to man's axe.
Oh, okay. So they
To
made a
seal the
pact.
before the gods, the children carved a face in every weirwood tree on the island.
So is that why
which
the
came to be
North
known
has the
as
old
Isle of
gods?
Faces. But the pact could not withstand the coming of the Andals, a race of tall, fair-haired warriors.
Okay.
They attacked with fire and weapons of steel,
Jeez.
slaughtering the children of the forest wherever they could find them, burning out their weirwood groves, hacking away at the faces of the old gods, and spreading their own religion through the land.
Oh,
Centuries
okay.
of war followed, and the
That's why
Andals
the old
conquered
gods are
every
like
kingdom
secondary.
in Westeros, save one.
They say the
The
old gods
North.
and the new gods.
The kings of winter were able to
The North
withstand
says
the
that.
Andal invasion, and descendants of the first men dwell there to this day and continue to worship the old gods. As for the children of the forest, those who survived the slaughter were said to have fled far north and have not been seen again. Most assume they're long dead, and some don't believe they ever existed. They live on only through song and legend, and in the faces of the weirwood trees.
Okay.
When Aegon the Conqueror invaded Westeros, he had 7 kingdoms to
I'm gonna
contend
continue.
with. The Kingdom of the North,
I didn't really have
the
a
Kingdom
lot
of
of
the Mountain and the Vale, the Iron Islands, the Kingdom of the Rock,
questions there.
the Kingdom of the Reach, the Stormlands, and Dorne. These regions had been established by the first men thousands of years before, in the Age of Heroes.
The Age of
One hero of this fabled age was Bran the Builder. Bran raised the wall and built the stronghold of Winterfell,
Holy
establishing House Stark and reigning as the first king in the north.
Oh.
Other legends tell of the Grey King in the Iron Islands. Grey King took a mermaid to wife and defeated Naga,
What?
the first sea dragon.
Okay, I
House
see.
Greyjoy
I
of
see why they
Pike,
call it Age of Heroes.
the current rulers of the region, claim to descend from him. House Casterly ruled the gold-rich Westerlands from their mighty seat of Casterly Rock. But
Cast.
their lands and power were swindled from them by the legendary trickster, Lan the Clever. The noble house of Lannister is said to have descended from him.
That's so
The verdant and
perfect.
fertile
Yes, it
lands of
is.
the Reach were first ruled by House
For them.
Gardner, whose founder, known as Garth Greenhand, wore a crown of flowers and vines. He ruled from Highgarden as the first king of the Reach and was said to have made the land bloom.
Wow.
Many noble houses trace their bloodlines back to him, including the current lords of Highgarden, House Tyrell. In the Stormlands,
Tyrell.
according to ballads of the
Isn't
age,
it called Tyra?
a warrior
Yes.
named Durin fell in love with Elenai, whose father was god of the sea and mother was goddess of the wind. She gave her maidenhead to him, committing herself to a mortal life. Enraged, her parents called upon the winds and waters, destroying Darren's Bayside keep and wiping out his
Lord.
wedding guests. Darren declared war on the gods and rebuilt his keep, which was also destroyed.
I see this
4
as
more castles he raised, each stronger than the last. All fell to the power of the gods.
it's more
But
Norse
Darren's 7th castle,
mythology based.
Storm's End, withstood the god's rage. Darren became known as Darren Godsgrief and reigned as the first Storm King. There are countless other tales from the Age of Heroes, too many to count. These histories weren't recorded in a book,
Huh.
passed down from generation to generation through story and song.
Okay.
And while some of them may
That
be
is so
dismissed as fairy
perfect.
tales,
That they like
every one of the
tricked
seven
the
kingdoms is
Lord out
defined
of
by
their
them.
kingdom. Okay. Okay. Oh my god. What did you take away from that?
I gotta think about it for a minute.
Yeah, I do too. Any questions or any ways to simplify that, you guys? Let us know. I'm only gonna wait like a minute and then we're gonna continue.
So Brendan Builder, did he do the wall of the Men of the Night's
I think
Watch
that's what
wall,
they said.
or did he do the wall of?
I think that's what they said. And then he did the castle
Yes, it
that
kept
they
getting blown
currently
over.
are. Is
Yeah.
it the one they're currently in? Or is it a different one? I'm assuming that everything was created that still stands now. Valeria and the Dragons by Viserys. I like so much that it's voiced by the actors.
Yes.
That is amazing. Okay. It wasn't built all at once. That makes sense. You would think that like something that old would have like additions and like it would be added on to over and over and over. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. There's oh, we'll get it through their perspective. Okay. Okay. I'm guessing we'll figure out more from what these characters did, what these people did, like Bran the Builder and like from all the Aged Heroes. Sorry, our camera like freezes randomly. We got to get a new one. All right, we're starting up.
East of Westeros lies the Smoking Sea, where no ship dares sail. There are those who swear it to be demon-haunted, and who's to say they're wrong? For it was there, thousands of years ago, that a cataclysmic event occurred, destroying one of the great civilizations in history. The precise details of their origins are lost to us. But it is said the Valyrians were once a modest community of shepherds, tending their flocks on a small peninsula of the great eastern continent.
Interesting.
One fateful day, in a volcanic area known as the 14 Fires, they made a shattering discovery.
14 volcanoes?
Dragons.
Dragons.
They were monstrous, scaled
Did
creatures
they live in the
with
volcanoes?
massive wings, sharp claws, and fiery breath. They were also said to have a deep-rooted connection to magic. In time, the Valyrians were able to tame the beasts. Harnessing their immense power, they established a city of wonder, unlike any before or since.
How do you tame them?
They became skilled at sorcery and metallurgy.
It is interesting.
Creating uncommon weapons of spell-forged steel.
Maybe they fed them.
Wielding these weapons astride their dragons, the Valyrians conquered the surrounding
So that's where
lands and
Valyrian
slowly
steel comes from.
expanded
It's
west.
steel made with dragon's breath.
At the time, the Giscari Empire dominated much of the great eastern continent and tried to stop Valyria's expansion. The Giscari legions attacked the Valyrians 5 times, but could never defeat them. Finally, the Valyrians marched on their capital, Old Gis, and obliterated it, turning its streets and buildings to ash with dragon flame, and wiping the Giscari people and their culture off the face of the earth.
Live inside the volcanoes.
The freehold of Valyria, as it came to be known, became the most advanced civilization in the known world, with its own language, gods, and culture.
Wow.
The Valyrians'
Dang,
reach
own
extended far
everything?
and wide, covering most of the continent.
There are books on this?
Great cities were built and roadways paved, all of which led back to Valyria. The freehold would prosper for nearly 5,000 years.
Like an origin story?
But it was not to last. An event that became known only as the Doom laid waste to the Valyrians, their capital city, and its surrounding lands. The peninsula itself was shattered, becoming what is now the Smoking Sea.
Oh, wow.
Every dragon was thought to be lost, as were the Valyrian spells, knowledge, and recorded history.
Oh my god, that's major.
Thus, the mighty empire collapsed.
Oh.
Yeah, we're seeing the...
What caused this cataclysm? No one knows for certain. Some say it was a volcanic eruption. Others say the Valyrians' own sorcery got the better of them.
Yeah.
In any event, the doom's devastation of the Valyrian
Yeah, out of
people
hand.
was total.
That's
With the
interesting.
exception of a small rocky island in the narrow sea. Dragonstone.
Oh,
For
Dragonstone.
it was there
I
that
saw
the
that.
Targaryens, the last of old Valyria, dwelled. They would lie in wait for another 100 years before unleashing the fury of the dragon on another continent,
Oh.
Westeros.
Oh, like Dragonstone? Dragonstone?
Night gathers, and now my watch begins.
I'm gonna do like 2 and
It
then
shall
we'll
not
pause.
end
Every 2.
until my death. I shall take no wife, hold no lands, father no children. I shall wear no crowns and win no glory.
Wow.
I shall live and die at my post.
It's so cool that he's
I am
doing
the
the
sword
narration
in
for
the
those two.
darkness. I am the watcher on the walls. I am the shield that guards the realms of men.
I would pay money to
I pledge
see
my
a
life
show
and
where he
honor
was like
the
young,
Night's Watch.
taking his oath for the first
For
time.
this night, and all the nights to come. Legend tells of a winter that lasted
There's
a
so much
generation,
material you can make shows on.
and of a vast and terrible darkness that fell across the land. It came to be known as the Long Night. In the midst of this darkness, the White Walkers emerged from the far north. With their armies of the dead, they waged war against the living,
Oh my god.
laying waste to villages and holdfasts, leaving terror and destruction in their wake. After years of brutal conflict and unbearable loss, an alliance of the first men and the children of the forest managed to drive the walkers and their
Wow.
minions back
So it's before
into
the
frigid
Andals
northern
came.
wastelands from whence they came. To prevent another
Or was it?
invasion, the first men erected the wall,
Okay.
a massive fortification 700 feet in height, stretching from the
Wow.
Frostfang Mountains in the west to the Bay of Seals in
What
the
the
east.
heck?
It was a structure unlike any ever built. Indeed, some maintain it could only have been completed with the aid of giants, or
Giants.
using the powerful magic of the ancient children of the forest.
Jeez.
Men were required to guard and maintain it, and thus the
Yeah,
Night's
after
Watch
that.
was born.
Yeah.
A sworn brotherhood, tasked with defending the realms of men against the dark forces that lay beyond. Upon taking his
Wow.
vows, a brother of the Night's Watch serves for life. It is a life of hardship and great sacrifice, so the oath must not be taken lightly.
Yeah, no.
The punishment for desertion is death. The Night's Watch is divided into 3 vital branches: the
Ooh.
Rangers, the Builders, and the Stewards. While all Black Brothers are expected to take up steel should the need arise, the Rangers are the true warriors of the Watch. Centuries come and gone, and although the White Walkers have yet to return, another threat has emerged.
Oh my god.
Barbarian tribes known as wildlings.
Okay.
The Rangers are charged with defending the realm against these
So the
lawless
wildlings-
savages.
Not the White Walkers coming
Builders are
back is very
carpenters,
recent
Masons,
the
miners,
show.
and woodsmen,
in the timeline.
tasked with maintaining the wall, as well as its various keeps, towers, and structures, which have fallen into disrepair over the years.
Wow.
The stewards serve as cooks, butchers, and hunters. They tend to the horses and messenger ravens, sew clothing, gather firewood,
Maester Aemon
and bring supplies up from the
is
south.
one of them.
The Night's Watch is a diverse group. Proud volunteers from noble houses stand
Everyone is
side
still
by
as a part of
side
the other
with
one, it seems.
petty thieves conscripted from dungeons. Class distinctions are left behind, as are past misdeeds. A man gets what he earns on the wall. And even the lowliest gutter snipe can rise up in rank if he proves himself worthy.
That's
For thousands of years,
so
the
different
brothers of
than
the
anywhere
Night's
else
Watch
in the
have
world.
stood their lonely vigil.
It's probably why so many people
As the
go
seasons changed, as brutal wars raged
if
in
they
the
have a
south,
choice.
as dynasties rose and fell, the Night's Watch endured.
But again, it's
We
like
are the swords in
sort
the
of
darkness.
a mockery from everyone else
We
south of it.
are the watchers on the wall. We are the shields that guard the realms of men.
Wow. Okay.
We have some answers.
Read yours. Find yours on there so you can read it. Yeah. That's what I gathered from that. That his beginning part was like almost it was almost a retelling of what the I can't remember who she was, but the person taking care of Bran said, "You want to hear a scary story?" And that was like almost similar to the one that he told. It was a little more like serious and less trying to be entertaining for Bran, but yeah, I do want to check that. I do know that. So that's another question I had. Where's Dragonstone? So the Targaryens were here when Valyria exploded. Where is Valyria? So Valeria's over here.
It's right down there.
So they came over to Dragonstone, or were they already at Dragonstone when it happened? That's my question. Okay, they were okay. 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 We'll figure it out. Okay, I understand. So that's going to be brought up again later. But it's interesting to know that they were there, already there in Dragonstone. Okay. If there are spoilers, just hold on that. Okay, we'll go back to the video. The History of the Night's Watch by Maester Luwin. Maester Luwin being the Maester of Winterfell. I wish I could hear it from Maester Aemon. I kind of like him better.
Joining the Night's Watch, or taking the Black, is a singular honor for any northerner. For it was in the north, some 8,000 years ago, that the first man drove back the White Walkers, erected the wall, and established the sworn brotherhood that would guard the realm and its people from the dangers beyond. Regrettably, the Night's Watch no longer commands the widespread respect and admiration it once did. While House Stark and other houses in the northern regions continue to recognize its vital importance to the safety and stability of the realm, this view is not shared by the powerful houses of the southern kingdoms or their subjects. Most regard the Watch as a misguided, obsolete order made up of useless outcasts. Admittedly, the current Night's Watch is a shadow of its former glory. Their numbers have dwindled to less than 1,000. Of the 19 castles along the wall, only 3 are functional. The Shadow Tower, Castle Black, and East Watch by the Sea.
Yeah, the stream will be uploaded after.
And the Watch's mandate of adding to the wall has been abandoned entirely. There are barely enough resources to maintain it. Recruiting
Wow.
officers, known as Wandering Crows, scour the
I feel like I'm getting a
dungeons and
history
slums
lesson.
of the realm
Like
in
I'm
hope of
Brad,
finding
and
men
he's
to
giving
fill
me
the
a history
ranks.
lesson.
While there is still the occasional highborn volunteer, the newest recruits are
Yeah,
almost
so-
entirely made up of lowly criminals.
Yeah,
Thieves,
they're not prepared.
rapists and murderers, sentenced to the wall as punishment for their crimes. The decline of this once fabled order is troubling, as the danger it guards against is all too real. While the White Walkers haven't been seen or heard from in ages, and may very well be the stuff of myth, barbarian tribes that dwell beyond the wall, known as wildlings, have been a menace to the North and its people for generations. At certain points in history, the disparate wildling tribes have united behind a single leader, a king beyond the wall, and attempted large-scale attacks
Yeah, we heard a
against the
little bit
realm.
about that.
But thanks to the resourceful and courageous men of the Night's Watch, these so-called kings were soundly defeated. While many have lost faith in the Night's Watch, the people of the North are steadfast in their belief that the Black Brothers will answer the call of duty. But with winter coming, diminished numbers, and a lack of widespread support,
Great.
will they be ready?
Will they be?
Voice acting for this is on point because they literally have the voice actors, the literal.
That makes it even better
Long
too.
ago in the wintry north,
Okay, we get
an army
Tywin's
of
perspective.
demons emerged from beneath the icy ground and spread darkness and despair across the land. Astride their monstrous spiders, flanked by giants, they wreaked havoc on the innocent, slaughtering thousands. All hope was lost until the fearless warriors of the first Night's Watch drove them back into the wintry
Okay.
mountains and built a magic wall to keep them from ever invading again.
Yeah,
These
they do say a
stalwart
lot.
brothers in black continue to protect us even to this day from the evils that lurk in the shadows. An absurd lie. A fairy tale
What?
spun by
I was
many
like-
a wet nurse in the north.
He's
To
giving
be
them too
sure,
much credit.
a giant wall does exist. The triumph of engineering, perhaps, but not of magic. As for the Night's Watch, there may have been a time centuries ago when there was prestige and honor in the miserable monastic life of a Black Brother. But now, the wall has become a glorified penal colony, full of outcasts, criminals, and assaulted ne'er-do-wells. Today, a typical man of the Night's Watch most likely started out a lowly beggar, or a rapist, or a village idiot.
It really does show
As for the few
where his
high-born
children
watchmen,
get it from.
they either fought on the losing side of a war, or were disowned by their
Even
parents
Tyrion,
for one
but,
reason
like,
or
he's
another.
not.
Those who persist in defending the Night's Watch
He's willing to
claim
change
the
his
Seven
mind.
Kingdoms need protection from the wildling tribes of the far north. But there's little to fear from those primitives. They're a nuisance, but not sophisticated or powerful enough to be a significant threat to the realm. And any talk of White Walkers returning with their armies of the dead and their giant spiders and their snarks is just that. Talk.
Yeah.
Sounds like
that-
Cersei.
Yeah. Well, it's where
In the
she
Seven
got it from.
Kingdoms of Westeros, the dominant religion is the faith of the Seven. First brought to its
Her
shores
father.
by the Andals some 6,000 years ago.
But there are some who still keep to the old way, worshipping the faceless gods of the children of the forest
Yeah.
and the first men. The old gods are countless, nameless spirits of nature. In ancient times, the children of the forest carved faces in the trunks of the weirwood trees, which became sacred symbols of their faith.
Yeah.
In time,
They are too far away
the
from
first
it
men
to
adopted the children's
like
gods
see
as
the
their own.
impact.
Most castles at that time contained a godswood with a weirwood or heart tree at its centre.
Meanwhile,
What's the
across the
difference
narrow
between
sea,
a werewood and a heart tree?
a new religion was born in the hills of Andalos. According to legend, the god of Seven revealed itself to the
Or is it the same?
Andals, and the invasion of Westeros followed soon after. The Andals sailed across the sea on ships armed with weapons of steel.
Damn, they have skulls on their
Some
shit.
warriors
Yeah, look
carved
at that.
a seven-pointed
Dang.
star into their skin as a symbol of their new faith.
the invaders destroyed most of the weirwoods in the southern lands, slaughtered the children of the forest wherever they could find them, and conquered every kingdom of the first men, save the north. In time, the faith of the Seven spread like wildfire throughout the land. The Seven is a single deity with 7 aspects, each symbolizing a different area of life, though most people refer to the 7 as separate gods.
The mother is prayed to for mercy and watches over fertility, childbirth, and peace. The father sits in judgment over souls. The warrior is prayed to for protection, valor, and skill in battle. The crone is the symbol of wisdom and foresight. The smith watches over creation and craftsmanship. The maiden symbolizes purity, love, and beauty. Finally, there is the stranger,
Christian crusades be like.
rarely prayed to, who represents death.
Yeah.
The faith is highly
They brought a lot of
organized
that
and
with them
deeply
when they came over.
influential in Westerosi politics and culture as the official religion of the monarchy. Worshippers gather in temples of the faith called septs. The seat of the faith is the Great Sept of Baelor, which is located in the capital city of King's Landing.
Okay. Yes.
Still, in the north, where descendants of the first men dwell, worship of the old gods continues to this day, and the sacred faces of the weirwood trees keep close watch
Because they are
over
the first
faithful.
men.
They are.
Descended from the first men. Field of Fire.
The ascension of Aegon Targaryen was confirmed, and the fate of the Seven Kingdoms sealed on the Field of Fire. Kings Loren Lannister of the Rock and Mern Gardner of the Reach stood against Aegon's invasion.
Wow.
They commanded a united force of 600 banners, 5,000 mounted knights, and 50,000 men-at-arms. Aegon's host was vastly
The
outnumbered.
Andals
Yeah.
fought
Army of
back
the two kings
against,
charged, the
and the
invaders
first
turned
men
heel
fought
and ran.
back against.
But Andal Might was no match for Dragonflame.
Yeah.
When Aegon
You're done.
unleashed all 3 of his dragons, 4,000 souls were horrendously burned alive on the battlefield.
Crispified.
How do you think you're gonna fight that?
I don't know. Wait.
Realizing all hope
Or unless
was
they
lost,
didn't know about dragons
Lauren
until
surrendered.
then. You know?
The Starks of Winterfell had no intention of submitting to Targaryen rule. They had reigned as kings in the north since the days of the First Men and were determined to resist the Targaryen invaders, just as they had resisted the Andals thousands of years before.
I like how Rob starts
King
like
Torrhen
saying
Stark
this.
led his
with, like,
army to the Red Fort
anger.
just east of Riverrun, hoping to succeed where Lorne and Mern had failed. But when Torrhen saw the size of Aegon's now mighty host,
Yeah, it's
along with
obvious,
his monstrous
you don't-
dragons, he knew he couldn't subject his followers to the
No
horror
way.
of another field of fire. He bent the knee and swore fealty to Aegon, who allowed the Starks to maintain their lordship over the region as Lords Paramount and Wardens of the North. Without question, Torrhen Stark saved thousands of lives that day.
Sure did.
Yeah.
He was ever after known as the king who knelt.
Yeah, but the king who saved thousands of lives.
The people who named him that
The
wouldn't be
days
alive.
of the Andals
If
were
he did.
numbered. One by one, their so-called kings were bending the knee or facing the wrath of Aegon Targaryen. Aegon of Old Valyria. Aegon who was blood of the dragon. After defeating the Iron Men at Harrenhal and slaying the last of the Storm Kings, Aegon and his sisters, Rhaenys and Visenya, set their sights on other prizes. The gold mines of the Rock and the fertile lands of the Reach. King Loren Lannister of the Rock and King Mern Gardner of the Reach foolishly thought their combined armies could beat back the Targaryen host.
I don't know about that.
They rode forth together,
Yeah.
their proud banners flapping in the wind, and faced off against Aegon in a vast golden field of wheat.
Yeah, that's what he's talking about.
The two kings
When he-
commanded a massive force of nearly 60,000, and it appeared the day was theirs. Until Aegon unleashed all 3 of his dragons for the first and only time. Each beast was named after the Valyrian gods of Aegon's forefathers.
Wow.
Visenya rode Vhagar, whose fiery breath could melt armor. Rhaenys rode Meraxes, whose jaws were big enough to swallow a horse whole.
Oh my god.
Greatest of all was Balerion the Black Dread, with fire dark as night and wings so huge whole towns were covered in shadow when he flew overhead. This magnificent creature was ridden by Aegon himself.
Of course.
4,000 men were bathed in glorious dragon flame that day, on what came
If
to
we
be
didn't learn
known
the
as
first
the
time, let's
Field
try
of
the
Fire.
second time.
Viserys is
King
such
Mern was among
prick.
the dead, and House Gardener died with him. His stewards, the Tyrells, surrendered his ancestral stronghold of High Garden to Aegon, and were appointed Lords Paramount of the Reach and Wardens of the South.
We
When
haven't
Loren
learned the names
Lannister
yet, so
witnessed
probably.
Mern's fate, he wisely bent the knee. Aegon spared Loren's life, and the Lannisters were made Lords Paramount of the Westerlands and Wardens of the West. After his triumph on the Field of Fire, Aegon's conquest was assured. In a short time,
can
the
compete against
so-called
dragons? Of
Seven
course you're gonna win
Kingdoms
everything.
were melted down in the heat of the dragon's flame and transformed into a single realm. Aegon would forever be known as Aegon the Conqueror.
Holy smokes! Do you need to go take a break?
Maybe.
I know you often, more than not, some of the time, have to go to the bathroom while we're watching these things.
Well, it's not my fault. Ah.
So that whole battle, is there books on this? I need to know. Is there books like, I don't know if you know, but like Lord of the Rings has like the Silmarillion, and that explains like everything that happened before. Okay. We're definitely gonna have to read the books. I'm like a history nut. All right. I love history of all kinds, and fictional or not. Okay. And definitely when we get done with the show completely and House of the Dragon, we're definitely gonna go and just smash up a bunch of lore videos on the channel too. Depending on I'm sure some of you who probably don't like history all too much, it might seem like trivial to like be interested in all of this, but you all are fans of the show, so you probably are okay. I don't know if I could get away legally with a book club live stream where we read legally, but something where we go over like chapter to chapter, a few chapters at a time, I'd definitely be down for that. Oh yeah. Even history made up by an author. Like I love Lord of the Rings history in totality.
Totality?
And Game of Thrones is probably great world building to the point where I would love it too. And obviously, we're watching it like straight up. It's really good.
Seems to me that
No, we will watch House of the Dragon before that.
Aeon. Targaryen has got lots of enemies, and he just
100%
keeps
we will.
building and building and building his enemies.
Quick question. Do you like House of the Dragon more than Game of Thrones?
Oh, that's a good one.
The shows, not the books? I know there's gonna be like differences of opinion, but okay, just a question. We all got opinions. We all know that.
Well, knowing opinions is good.
Having opinions is fine. All right. Okay. We're gonna jump back in.
Okie dokies.
Is the audio okay? I feel like our audio is low compared to the show. To the not the show, the Can you hear us all right? Okay. Thank you, thank you.
In the far southwest of Westeros, at the mouth of the river Honeywine, lies the great stone city of Old Town. It is home to the Citadel, where men and boys from throughout the kingdoms come to receive their training as maesters. Maesters play an integral role in Westerosi society, serving as scholars, healers, and advisors to the nobility of the Seven Kingdoms. This venerable order of learned men dedicate their lives to serving the realm, and are sworn to occupy a neutral position when it comes to power and politics. Upon completing his training at the Citadel and taking his vows, a maester renounces his family name and takes a vow of celibacy. He is assigned to a castle or keep, and duty-bound to serve as its counselor and healer.
Okay, so they're
Even if
like
control of the castle
actually
changes hands. A maester's allegiance is to the realm, not to any one family.
okay.
His badge of office is a great chain, forged from links of different metals, which he wears around his neck. It is a reminder of his role as a servant of the realm, and is never to be removed. A
Oh,
maester forges
so
his
people
chain
can
with
like
study,
see.
and each link
all
represents
the
the
time.
mastery of a different kind of learning.
Oh, that's cool.
For instance, a silver link signifies mastery of the medicinal arts. A golden link represents the study of money
They
and
represent their
accounting.
own study.
An
Wow.
iron
Of a
link
link.
indicates knowledge
That's
of
neat.
warcraft. Ravenry is an especially important skill for a maester, as it is he who breeds, trains, and maintains carrier ravens for the delivering of messages throughout the land. There are some maesters who have earned a link forged of Valyrian steel. This signifies knowledge of the higher mysteries, commonly known as magic. Only one maester in 100 possesses such a link, as this field of study is frowned upon by many in the Order. It is possible magic may have existed for a time long ago, but most consider the higher mysteries to be long gone from this world.
Okay.
Service as a maester is a noble calling, one of vital importance to a prosperous realm. It is little wonder there are some who refer to the Order as the Knights of the Mind.
Oh. We just got we just discussed in our season 2 episode 3 video the if magic in this world.
Mm-hmm.
We had theories on it, and you'll just have to wait to see, or if you're on Patreon already, you've probably already seen it. But if magic in this world is kind of like the seasons, like where it disappears and comes back, or if magic is like slowly decreasing over time. We had some theories on that.
As word of King Aerys' erratic and troubling behavior spread throughout the Seven
You
Kingdoms,
being a psycho?
Lord Rickard Stark continued to
Ooh.
serve his king faithfully as Warden of the North. The proud father of 4 children, his daughter Lyanna, was engaged to Robert Baratheon, the young lord of Storm's End. Centuries of peace between the North and the Iron Throne ended the day Rhaegar Targaryen, Prince of Dragonstone, abducted Lyanna. Enraged, Brandon
Yeah.
Stark rode
Okay.
to King's Landing, demanding the release of his sister and the death of Rhaegar.
The
Aerys
death?
arrested him for treason and called his father to come to the capital to ransom him. When Lord Rickard complied, Aerys, now utterly mad, arrested him for treason as well. Lord Rickard demanded a trial by combat. Aerys declared fire the champion of House Targaryen and had
Of
Lord
course.
Rickard suspended from the rafters of the throne room while pyromancers lit a blaze beneath him. As he burned, Brandon was brought into the throne room. A leather cord attached to a strangulation device was wrapped around his neck.
Wow.
Aerys told
This guy
Brandon
is
his
nuts.
father was a dead man, but there was a chance to save him. A longsword was placed on the floor just out of Brandon's reach, and the more he struggled to reach it, the more the cord tightened around his throat. Brandon Stark strangled himself, trying to free his father, who was roasted alive in his own armor. The entire court stood and watched this atrocity take place. Sir Jaime Lannister and the Kingsguard among them. The Mad King was reported to have laughed hysterically
The Mad King indeed.
as these two noble men were tortured and brutally killed before him. Seeking to rid the world of all his supposed enemies, Aerys called for the head of Rickard's younger son, Eddard Stark, and Lyanna's betrothed, Robert Baratheon. He sent
No,
word
we don't
to Lord
have
John Arryn,
an
who had
idea
fostered
about that.
both young men at the Eyrie, to apprehend them. Instead, Lord Arryn
I don't
joined
think we've
houses
learned enough
Stark
yet.
and Baratheon in rebellion.
Yeah.
Robert
I-
vowed to kill Rhaegar Targaryen and
Yep.
get his beloved Lyanna back.
It's good that he didn't go to the...
Aerys Targaryen was the last of his name to sit on the Iron Throne. Known far and wide as the Mad King, his was a reign of instability and terror. The Seven Kingdoms are well rid of him
Okay.
and his kind. Oh, he may have appeared to be
We'll
a
clarify
capable
when we
ruler
pause
at
again.
first, but that was due in no small part to his counselors led by the hand of the king, Tywin Lannister. There may have been years of peace and prosperity during Aerys's reign, but it was Tywin who was really running the country as Aerys spiraled further and further into insanity. The dragon spawn were famous for losing their minds. It was the price
Yeah.
they paid for centuries
Robert
of
would
keeping
definitely
the bloodlines
be
pure.
upset about this.
And Aerys more than happily continued the noble sister-fucking tradition of his forefathers.
Oh my god.
As the years passed, Aerys's behavior became increasingly erratic. He cut himself so often on his Iron Throne, many referred to him as King Scab, though never to his face.
Jeez.
Yeah, probably
It was
don't want
rumored
to say
he had
that.
developed an obsession with wildfire, and was known to inflict horrific punishments on those he considered enemies, including burning them alive.
Yeah,
As
that's
his
definitely...
paranoia and bloodlust
We know
grew,
that.
he had a bitter falling out with Lord Tywin, who had served the crown faithfully for 20 years. At least Tywin was able to leave the job with his life and fortunes intact. Subsequent hands of King Aerys weren't so fortunate.
Wow.
Then the Targaryens went too far. The Crown Prince Rhaegar abducted Lyanna Stark, daughter of Rickard Stark, the Lord of Winterfell. She was my betrothed. She was my beloved. Beautiful and spirited woman, and I loved her more than life itself.
It was ripped from her. She was ripped from him.
Rhaegar went
Both
south
ways.
with Lyanna, hiding her away
Yeah.
in Dorne. What harm he inflicted on the poor girl, the gods only know. Brandon Stark, Lyanna's eldest brother, was outraged. He rode to King's Landing to confront the king and demand his sister's safe return. Instead, Aerys had him executed, his father, Rickard Stark, as well. There wasn't much left to discuss after that.
Yeah.
Aerys feared their loved ones would seek revenge for what he did. He was right to be afraid.
Yeah.
Aerys wasted no time in calling for the heads of Brandon's younger brother, my friend Eddard Stark. And my head too, of course. I'm sorry he didn't come looking for it himself. Alongside Jon Arryn of the Vale, the man who fostered Ned and I as children, Baratheons, Starks, and Tullys all called their banners.
Yeah, that's all it all
Once our
started.
rebellion began, the Mad King's days were numbered.
Well, don't forget he's got dragons.
No, he doesn't have dragons. By this time, the dragons are all dead.
Targaryen's behavior grew more and more erratic. The task of ruling the Seven Kingdoms fell to me, Tywin Lannister. I
We learned that
served
from
Aerys for nearly
Viserys
20 years,
in the
and
first
as a
season.
result, the realm had prospered. The royal coffers were full, the land was at peace. But Aerys grew increasingly hostile, jealous of the success many credited to me. My power and influence unnerved him. The captain of my personal guard, Sir Ellen Payne, was once overheard making offhand comments regarding who was the true ruler of Westeros. When the king was given this information, he had Ellen Payne's tongue ripped out with hot pincers. It was my desire to unite the houses of Lannister and Targaryen.
Is that the
through
guy who
marriage.
chopped Ned
My
Stark's
daughter
head off?
Cersei would marry Aerys'
And-
eldest son, Prince Rhaegar. Such a union made
Who, like,
perfect
follows
sense
them
for
around
all
everywhere?
parties. However, Aerys' senses had begun to leave him quite some time earlier.
The like executioner
Instead
guy.
of uniting the royal family with its most loyal and powerful ally, Aerys chose instead to insult my family, indicating that such a match was beneath Rhaegar. Instead, he chose Elia Martell of Dorne to be Rhaegar's wife. As if to
Wow.
rub salt in my wounds, Aerys appointed Jaime, my son, to the king's guard.
So
The
Rhaegar
King's
had
Guard may
a
be an honor
wife
for lesser
when
families
he
than ours, but
abducted
it is a lifetime appointment
Lyanna
that
Stark.
forces him to renounce all family holdings. This creates a difficulty in naming an heir to Casterly Rock, but Aerys knew all that. I had grown tired of the king's constant provocation. Thus, I resigned my post as Aerys' hand and returned to Casterly Rock with my considerable forces. When Robert Baratheon rebelled against the throne, Aerys grew fearful that I would join with Robert's forces and rise
So he did it
against
in
him.
spite,
He
but
thought himself clever
tactically
and kept
too, to
Jaime
like
very close, as if warning me.
leave him weak.
He sunk deeper and deeper into delusion, paranoia, and violence. I've heard it said he became obsessed with wildfire, a substance which, once lit, cannot be extinguished. Convinced he had enemies all around him, he wouldn't allow blades in his presence, save
Blades?
for those of his king's guard.
And the ones he sat on.
Alas, that proved to be his undoing.
Yeah. Oh boy. Okay. You said we should clarify. It's said throughout the first season. So is that I didn't keep track. This is how I'm aware of it. All right. Aerys is the father. Rhaegar is the son. Viserys is one of his sons. Daenerys is the youngest daughter of Aerys, of King Aerys. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
correct. Oh, look at you. You're catching on, but good, real good. I'm doing my very best here.
Rhaella is the mother. Okay. I didn't even know her name. Maybe I missed it. Rhaegar is the oldest. So he was going to be the king. Rhaegar was going to be the king. And so, yeah, like going into the king's throne room and demanding the death of the next king was probably not the best idea. But again, the Starks do have like a preference towards not doing probably the best thing in the scenario. But that could be different in the books. Who knows? Okay.
Quick temper, slow minds. Yes.
Quick tempers, slow minds. Yes. But, I mean, slow minds. You're walking 1,000 leagues from Winterfell to King's Landing. You have a lot of time to think. You know what I'm saying? Let's go. Let's get going.
The Targaryen dynasty united the Seven Kingdoms and lasted nearly 3 centuries. It was a dynasty forged in fire, sealed in blood, and destroyed by rebellion. The Targaryens are blood of the dragon, descended from the nobility of ancient Valyria, a once mighty empire in the east.
Oh my
When
god.
the cataclysmic
Cerys.
dawn laid waste of Valyria and its people, the Targaryens survived.
He's insufferable.
Having settled on the island fortress of Dragonstone years before. They remained there for a century, until the rise of Aegon the Conqueror. Instead of attempting to reclaim the eastern lands of his ancestors, Aegon sailed west for the Seven Kingdoms, his sisters Visenya and Rhaenys at his side. To keep the bloodlines pure, Aegon continued the custom of his Valyrian ancestors and took both of his sisters to wife. Together, they came ashore on the eastern coast of Westeros.
Excuse me?
Their blazon, a dragon with 3 heads, representing Aegon and his sister wives.
Jeez
Their
Louise.
words, fire and blood. While their host was small in comparison to the armies of Westeros that awaited them, Aegon and his sisters had a secret weapon. The last of the dragons. He conquered every kingdom save Dorne, which eventually bowed to Targaryen rule a century later. He had the swords of his enemies melted down by the fiery breath of his dragon, Balerion
A century
Blackdread,
later?
and forged
They
into
survived
the Iron
that long?
Throne. The capital city of King's Landing was built on the eastern coast, where Aegon and his sisters first came ashore. And Aegon ordered the construction of a royal castle on its highest hill, the Red Keep. For 300 years, the Targaryen dynasty stayed strong in the face of...
Quick question, if anyone knows this. What is this? This, like, top tower that like, hangs off? Where is this in the castle? If anyone knows that. If you're, like, that into it that you know that.
rebellion, civil war, and plague. But the line of Dragon Kings was broken when my father, Aerys Targaryen, the second of his name, was overthrown in rebellion. My father was betrayed and slaughtered by Ser Jaime Lannister, a member of his own Kingsguard. His son and heir, my brother Rhaegar, perished on the field of battle at the hands of Robert Baratheon, who claimed the Iron Throne for himself. And so today, the only surviving members of
Rhaegar
the
died to
Targaryen
Robert.
dynasty are myself,
I
Prince
knew that, but
Viserys,
it's just
rightful
crazy.
King of the Andals and ruler of the Seven Kingdoms, and my sister, Daenerys. We were spirited away to the free cities of the East by loyalists. Here we have lived in exile ever since, dreaming of a day when we will cross the narrow sea and take back my father's throne.
Tower of the Hand. That is a baller place. You're like at the very end of it. But nowhere to go.
Rebellion.
Trapped.
The crimes of House Targaryen were too heinous to go unanswered. The noble houses of Baratheon, Stark, and Arryn united to oppose and overthrow the line of the cursed Dragon Kings. While Ned Stark and Arryn secured an alliance with the Tullys of Riverrun, I called the banners of Storm's End and rode out in force against the Mad King and his minions. Gods, those were some battles. Our first victory
He
occurred
would
at
say that.
Summerhall, where I faced off against an army of dragon loyalists and won 3 battles in a single day. 3 in one day. 7 hells, that was a glorious day.
Oh my
We tried
god.
to take Ashford Castle in
This
the
is
Reach,
so him.
but the Tyrells beat us back. We had to regroup. My army was pursued north by Eris's army and took refuge in the Stony Sept in the Riverlands. When the Targaryen army entered the town, the Sept bells tolled, a signal to the townspeople of the battle that was to come. As the Targaryens searched from house to house for me, the combined forces of Ned Stark and the Tullys swept into the city. Gods, what a day that was. It's now known as the Battle of the Bells.
The Battle of the
overwhelmed
Bells.
the Mad King's forces and sent them scampering back to King's Landing. Aerys' son, Rhaegar, who started the whole damn thing, finally emerged from hiding in the south and assembled his own army to face us. As for the Mad King, he must have been pissing himself. The battle that would decide the fate of the Seven Kingdoms occurred at the crossing of the Green Fork of the Trident River.
Oh, the battle.
Rhaegar commanded the royal host, which was some
Battle of the Trident they
40,000
talk about.
strong. My forces were outnumbered by nearly 5,000 men, but that didn't matter. They were fresh, but we were battle-hardened and had justice on our side.
Okay.
As the battle raged around us, I faced off with Rhaegar, the stag and the dragon right there in the ford of the river. I fought with the fury of 10 men, raining blow after blow upon that vile prince before burying my warhammer in his chest. I hit him so hard the rubies on his armor broke free, flinging them into the stream.
Oh my gosh.
They call it the Ruby Ford now. With that scum Rhaegar dead and the royal army shattered, our next move was to make for King's Landing. But I'd sustained a few wounds in the battle and was unable to ride.
How
I sent
was
Ned
Robert
Stark to the
Baratheon that
capital
good
to
of a
face
fighter?
the Mad King and make him pay for his crimes.
The Targaryens, blood of the dragon, and the last of old Valyria, were loved by their subjects and admired
crazy.
far and
He
wide
really let
as
himself
the
go.
greatest dynasty in the history of the Western world. But the peace and prosperity of nearly 3 centuries of Targaryen rule was shattered by the usurper, Robert Baratheon, and his band of traitors. House Baratheon owed its very existence to the Targaryens. Was it not Aegon the Dragon
That'd be
himself
cool to
who
see.
elevated the bastard Orys Baratheon in the War of Conquest? And what of the Starks, the Lannisters, the Aarons of the Vale? All had been spared and allowed to keep their lands when
Gods,
Aegon
he
could
was
easily
strong.
have wiped them out.
Yes, he was.
Centuries later, the usurper and his lackeys repaid Aegon's benevolence with treachery. There are some who dare to claim Robert and his allies had reason to rebel. They say the crown prince stole the usurper's lady love. They say
Lady
my
love.
father, King Aerys,
I mean,
murdered
he did.
Rickard Stark and his son without just cause. Whether these charges are true or not, it doesn't matter. The dragon answers to no one. Aerys' good name has been besmirched.
That's why this
in the
guy is
years
dead.
Since the rebellion.
Yep.
He's been called a dangerous madman, a monster, a tyrant that brought his tragic end upon himself. Lies! My father was a victim of weaklings in his council. Lackwits who failed him in his hour of need and let the rebellion spin out of control. But it was not enough. The royal army was crushed at the Battle of the Trident.
If it
was
wasn't
there the
Aerys
valiant
to
Rhaegar
fall,
met
it would
Robert in
definitely
secret
be
combat.
Viserys.
The gods betrayed him, and he perished by the usurper's
He was
hand.
like equally as
As the field
Insane.
of fire had marked the
imbecile.
end of the Andal.
I don't even know if
centuries
that's a
before.
word.
The Battle of the Trident seemed to herald the end of the Dragon King.
Tell him from the grave.
When word reached the
Literally.
capital of my brother Rhaegar's death, my father Aerys moved to protect me.
Viserys wouldn't have
as
been
I
any
was the
better.
surviving heir to the throne. He sent me to the island fortress of Dragonstone, along with my mother, Queen Rhaela, who was great with child. But as my father, my king, Aerys Targaryen, prepared to defend his throne to the bitter end,
The demon. Jeez.
little did he know of the horrors and betrayals that awaited him and our family.
Wow. House Baratheon by Robert Baratheon.
Ours is the fury. These are the words of the Black Stag of Baratheon. A battle cry echoed throughout the land in rebellion when I, Robert Baratheon, the first of his name, seized the Iron Throne from the Mad King Aerys Targaryen, ending a dynasty nearly 300 years old. House Baratheon was born in the Wars of Conquest, when Aegon the Dragon invaded Westeros. Aegon sent his commander, Orys Baratheon, to take Storm's End. Argilac the Arrogant, the last of the Storm Kings, foolishly left the safety of his stronghold and met the Baratheon warlord in open battle. Argilac was soundly defeated, and Orys took his lands, his holdings, and his daughter. Orys was said to be a half-brother to Aegon Targaryen. If this were true, a little blood of the dragon mingled with that of the stag in those days. The seat of House Baratheon is Storm's End.
I'm
a
pretty sure I
legendary
do.
keep raised in the Age of Heroes. It overlooks Shipbreaker's Bay, where legend has it that Durin, the first Storm King, raised the keep with the aid of Bran the Builder of House Stark, forging a centuries-long connection with the Stormlands and the North.
Wow.
After Aegon's conquest of the Seven Kingdoms, the Baratheons remained loyal enough to the crown, while Targaryen kings came and went. But loyalty has its limits. When Rhaegar
They're just looking for an opportunity.
Aerys' vile son and heir, abducted Lyanna Stark, my betrothed, my beloved, it was time to act. We raised our banners, Baratheon, Stark, Jon Arryn, and the Tullys,
And the
united in
Tullys.
rebellion against Rhaegar and his father, the Mad King.
The Tullys don't count.
We were victorious and took the Iron Throne. That bit of dragon blood in my veins came in well, as it made me a distant relation to the Targaryen dynasty blood of my long-lost ancestor, Orys. The truth of it is, I took it. I sit on the Iron Throne. I rule the Seven Kingdoms from the Red Keep.
Is this the end? Okay. Okay. I had a question. Alternate theory question. So, if, just follow me, if he had married Lyanna Stark, do you think he would have let Ned Stark be king instead of him? Because they talked about that a little bit, how, I don't know if it was Cersei or one of the counselors said to him that you could have just sat down on the throne and it would have been yours, you know? Like, in my mind, if he had, like married Lyanna Stark, maybe he would have stepped away and been like, okay, I got what I wanted, you know? No, like, if Lyanna Stark didn't die and he beat the Targaryens, and then, if that makes any sense. If it doesn't make any sense, then are you good? Do you need more time?
Nope.
Do you need headache medicine or anything?
I'm fine.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just wondering if he would have denied the throne if he achieved what he wanted to achieve, and maybe taking the throne was like more out of spite, because when he ruled, he basically didn't want to be king, he just wanted all of the perks.
Sorry.
That's fine. Okay. So he had more of a claim, which would make sense. Okay. Just a theory, an idea. Yeah, that's what I'm like That's what I'm basing that idea off of. If he achieved his goal of getting Lyanna Stark back, would he be more willing to be like, nah, I don't want the throne? Like Ned can have it, or someone else, anyone. Like, but it's just a theory. The Sack of King's Landing by Maester Lewin.
Robert Baratheon's victory at the Trident was a turning point in the war for the Iron Throne. While it was clear the gods were smiling on the rebel forces, Aerys Targaryen still held the Red Keep at King's Landing. As Robert was wounded and unable to ride, it was up to Eddard Stark to make for the capital and force the Mad King to give up the throne. Lord Stark reached the city gates to find that Tywin Lannister, Lord of Casterly Rock, had already sacked the city in Robert's Name. House Lannister had remained neutral up to this point, ignoring requests for help from both the Crown and the
So
rebels.
he came back the last minute
Now
to like
that
be like,
Robert's eventual
"Hey,
victory
I
was
helped you."
assured, it seemed Lord Tywin had finally chosen a side.
Finally.
Lord Eddard was horrified by what he saw when he entered the city. Homes looted and burned, women raped, scores of innocent citizens killed. Disgusted, he led his force up Visenya's hill to the Red Keep. Upon entering the throne room, he found King Aerys lying in a pool of blood,
Oh
dead
my, jeez.
by the hand of his own sworn King's Guard,
Yeah.
Jaime Lannister, who sat brazenly upon the throne. Demanding to know the whereabouts of Queen Rhaela, Lord Eddard was informed the Queen and her son Viserys had been spirited away to Dragonstone before the Lannisters arrived. But other members of the royal family were not as fortunate. Elia, Martell of Dorne, who was the wife of Prince Rhaegar, had been raped and murdered by Ser Krigor Clegane on Lord Tywin's orders.
Oh my god.
Ser Krigor and his men had also butchered Rhaegar's young
why?
children. When Robert was well enough to reach the capital, Lord Eddard demanded the Lannisters answer for their heinous crimes. Robert refused, and sent him south to relieve the Baratheon stronghold of Storm's End, which was still under siege by forces loyal to the crown. Whatever words passed between the two old friends are known only to them. But Lord Eddard is said to have left King's Landing in anger. Later, when Robert was crowned, he appointed Jon Arryn as Hand of the King. Lord Arryn's first order of business was to broker a truce with the Martells of Dorne, who were outraged by the brutal murder of Princess Elia and her children. Following the death of Lyanna Stark, who had been betrothed to Robert, Houses Baratheon and Lannister were joined in marriage when the new king took Tywin Lannister's eldest daughter Cersei as his queen. As for Eddard Stark, he returned to his stronghold of Winterfell, forever haunted by his sister's death and the shameful way that Robert had secured his throne.
Yeah. Sack of King's Landing by Robert Baratheon. So we're getting
our rebellion to succeed,
that's perfect.
King's Landing had to be
because I have a
taken
lot of questions.
forcefully. No one was foolish enough to believe that Aerys was going to hand his crown over peacefully.
No.
The Mad King's reign needed to end.
Okay.
What Tywin Lannister's forces did was unfortunate, but it was necessary to secure the Iron Throne and bring peace and justice to the Seven Kingdoms. My glorious victory at the Trident left me wounded, but I sent my personal maester to attend to Ser Barristan Selmy instead. His wounds were more severe.
Oh, wow.
Even though Ser Barristan was a member of Aerys's King's Guard and fought on the opposing side, that man's bravery and loyalty was something to behold. But this meant my wounds would take longer to heal, and I couldn't ride to King's Landing myself. I sent the one man I trusted over anyone else in this world, Ned Stark, in my place. Had I been able to ride, perhaps I could have reached King's Landing sooner and prevented some of the violence that occurred when the Lannisters entered the city. Still, what Lord Tywin did was for the greater good. Even what happened to Princess Elia and her children. Babies or no, theirs was the same cursed blood that flowed within the Mad King's veins. They were dragon spawn, and couldn't be allowed to survive. What would
That
they grow
is
to be?
unfortunate.
Loyal subjects? Ned with his damn northern honor. He and I had our first major fight over the deaths of the Targaryen children. Ned called it murder. Murder? It was war. It was war.
Okay, you're right on
Lord
that.
Stark demanded that the Lannisters be held responsible for their crimes. Was it a crime to put an end to a family of lunatics born of incest? I wouldn't and still won't blame Tywin. Instead, I sent Ned Stark south to finish off the remaining
I don't know
Targaryen
about
loyalists.
that. The war was pretty much over.
It was only Lyanna Stark's death that reconciled us. Ned had lost his sister. I had lost my betrothed and beloved. We shared that sad bond together, Ned and I. Through it, our friendship was made strong again.
Yeah, they
As
grieved
for the
together
Mad
over someone that
King's
they both
surviving
was important to
heirs,
them.
those that were able to scurry away in the face of my fury now live somewhere across the narrow sea. They had best stay there. If they ever set foot in Westeros again, they will face the King's justice.
Sack of King's Landing by Tywin Lannister.
Rhaegar
The culprit.
Targaryen lay dead on the banks of the Trident, his royal army shattered and in retreat. The days of the Dragon Kings were clearly numbered. Until that moment, it would have been foolish to commit Casterly Rock to either the Crown or the Rebellion. What would our family
it was
have to gain
purely
in supporting
tactical.
a raving madman? Or in entering a crusade to put Robert Baratheon on the Iron Throne? But chaos benefits no one.
No.
It was time for House Lannister to do what it could to ensure
To go
a
do
return
chaos.
of peace and prosperity to the land. I, Tywin Lannister, brought 10,000 Lannister troops to the gates of King's Landing in order to bring the bloodshed to a quick and decisive conclusion. King Aerys had been sending ravens for months, begging for my support to end the uprising. In a way, his pleas had been answered.
Oh.
As I had suspected, Aerys opened the city gates and welcomed my men.
What?
Oh
Plan
my
was clear.
god.
Crush Aerys' remaining bannermen and remove
They
the
just
remnants
let
of the
him
royal
in.
family as quickly and efficiently
That
as
is-
possible. Any alternative meant years of further war and a fragmented Seven Kingdoms. Our
That is-
means were bloody, but the results speak for themselves. As for Aerys, it is true he met his fate at the hands of my son. Aerys had kept Jaime close during the rebellion, thinking himself clever in keeping my son as a hostage, should I decide to pledge support to the rebel cause. This proved to be his greatest mistake. For when the time came, Jaime did his duty as a Lannister and drove his sword into the Mad King's back. With that,
Backstabbing
Robert
bitch.
Baratheon's crown was secured. The new king recognized our role in his
Okay.
ascension to the throne, just as he recognized how useful the
What?
might and riches of Casterly Rock would be if he wanted to keep it.
Yeah.
To that
So-
end, I offered my daughter Cersei as his queen. Had
Didn't turn
Aerys
out
not
well.
spurned this same offer years earlier, perhaps things would have worked out differently. With Robert and Cersei crowned as king and queen of the Seven Kingdoms,
He got exactly
it was a
what he
new
wanted.
day. The
'Cause he-
dragon was vanquished, and the Seven Kingdoms would thereafter belong to the stag.
He
And
proposed
the
to
lion.
Rhaegar, his daughter, and didn't get it. And then, yeah. Okay. Viserys.
The Battle of the Trident
Oh,
may have been an
this
important
man.
victory for the usurper, but it was the
This
treachery
child.
and barbarism of Tywin Lannister that sealed the fate of the Targaryen dynasty. My father, King Aerys, had ever been a
So
friend to the
upset.
Lions of the Rock. And Aerys graciously brought Tywin to court, making him the youngest hand of the king in history. He gave him power. He gave him respect. He made it possible for Tywin to restore House Lannister to glory.
Yeah, when he does say
Aerys
that,
and Tywin
when you learn of it.
governed side by side for 20 prosperous years. Still, when the usurper called his banners in rebellion, Tywin Lannister ignored his king's pleas for help and stayed holed up in his stronghold of Casterly Rock. In time, my brother, Prince Rhaegar, was dead. The realm was in turmoil, and the usurper's forces were said to be riding for King's Landing. What a glorious sight it must have been when a force of 10,000 Lannister men showed up at the gate of the capital with Lord Tywin at their head, pledging support to his beleaguered king. Aerys opened the gates for his old friend.
Oh my goshness.
Instead, Lannister and his men proceeded to plunder and destroy the city that he had called home for decades.
Poof.
As the capital was ravaged and its people terrorized, Jaime Lannister, son of Lord Tywin, proved every bit as treacherous.
Yeah, how old is he?
He killed my father, the king, at the foot of the Iron Throne. The Lannisters entered the Red Keep, and Tywin ordered the deaths of the rest of the royal family. It is said Princess Rhaenys was found cowering under her father's bed and put to the sword. She was only a child.
A child?
As for Rhaegar's widow, Elia, she was forced to watch as Lannister thugs dashed her baby son's head against a wall before being raped and murdered herself. As I was
just
the heir
terrible.
to my father's throne, I had been spirited away to Dragonstone with my mother.
How did the
Queen
people of
Rhaena,
Dorne
who was
feel
with
about
child.
that?
As a raging summer storm battered the island fortress and destroyed the Targaryen fleet as it lay at
I
anchor,
can't imagine. Great.
my sister Daenerys was born. My mother, the queen, died giving birth. Now, some 17 years later, the rightful king still lives in exile. But a day of reckoning is coming. I will sail west as Aegon the Dragon did centuries before. I will take back my father's throne with blood and fire.
No,
And
you
I will
won't.
punish the treacherous dogs who sought to destroy my family.
Wow.
And the people shall rejoice.
I like how his voice. Oh my god.
Uh,
I like how his voice fades away because he obviously died. I like how he's proclaiming he's gonna do all these things, but his voice so slowly like fades away. Like obviously he's dead, so he's like saying it from the grave, basically. The first thing Jon earned his hand was broker a peace with the Martells. Okay. See, there's so many little things. Like, now that I know, that makes a lot more sense and it has a lot more meaning.
oh.
Like, hearing it in this, like, fashion where I'm getting, like, all of the context and from different perspectives and stuff like that, it means a lot more. I think she's suffering in silence back there.
My head's in pain, my ears are in pain, but I feel like when each character puts their twist on it, you can see from where they get it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not good with names. You guys already know this, but I'll call him the Mad King because that's what I feel like he is. Mad King, he set himself up to literally be destroyed.
Yeah.
He did all kinds of vicious. Yes, things to children, to random people, to his own family, and just killed everyone. Don't care. Kill them all.
Yeah.
He went mad. Absolute mad. Taking people away and just holding them. Oh my gosh.
So, did Tywin do that to Elia Martell? Did he order that because Rhaegar, or King Ares denied Cersei, was that like out of revenge, essentially? Or did he just do it because?
The Mad King had to be stopped. He really did.
Yeah, I agree with that. I completely
But
agree.
I feel like the
It's just
approach
such
could have
a
been different.
it's such a it's such a cluster of a whole. You can hold this if you want. Just hold it. You don't have to turn your head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He cleaned shop.
Cleaned shop. That is definitely
Mm-hmm.
some verbiage that works there. We're gonna get into the last, like, it's only 8 minutes, and then do our outros and last questions and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But thank you for coming to the stream.
Yes.
We're not done yet, but thank you for coming. If you haven't liked the video, please leave a like on it. We're gonna probably edit this a little bit and then re-upload it, so you guys will be a part of the video. I'll probably put the chat transcript somewhere on the video, so you guys can be a part of it. Obviously, when you rewatch the live, it's like already there.
When we see different parts of being told, it traces back to what we've already seen through season 1,
Yeah.
season 2. So I'm making these connections.
Yeah.
And it's good for clarification for me because I don't catch on to things as fast as he does at all. It takes me a little bit longer.
It takes me a long time too.
But I'm catching on to things like the Maesters, how they each had healing powers, not powers but knowledge
of like
of
they're
healing
different links
and wisdom. Yes, now I understand what the Maesters.
It's a little more context that provides more world building, so you
Yes.
can understand a lot more.
I always wondered why they had that, but I feel like the magic. I don't know who commented it, but they said dragons equal magic. So whoever did that.
Dragons equal magic. Is
I
that the
don't know.
case though? Because
Not that there's dragons again, because he said that dragons left and there was no more magic.
yeah.
So I'm assuming that person who said
So if dragons exist anywhere, there's magic.
Yes. So
Okay.
now is
That makes
magic
more
coming
sense
back
because
into?
if you're thinking about, like, if you think back to like the Ages of Heroes, right? There was no dragons in Westeros, but they were like using magic to like build the wall, and they used magic to like build Storm's End, you know? So there doesn't need to be dragons where you are. It's just dragons need to exist for magic to exist, which would make more sense.
Now, did the Valyrian steel come from the dragon's breath of magic, or when they were studying the dragons?
Maybe like using a metal and then using dragon's breath on the metal, imbued it with magic. It could be that.
The knowledge about. Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And two, you don't have dragons to like figure it out either.
I'm a slow learner, guys. I apologize.
It's fine. We're gonna power through this last 8 minutes. All right.
Okay, dokes. I'm gonna put this to the side so I can focus. And not pay attention to something else. Okay, I'm ready.
Let's do
In
it.
the snow-capped mountains of the moon, standing high above
House
the rich lands of the
Aaron.
Vale, stands the Eyrie.
The Eyrie.
A storied and impregnable fortress said to have been built by the legendary Mountain Kings in the Age of Heroes.
Yeah.
It is the stronghold of House Aaron, one of the oldest noble families in Westeros. Their sigil, a soaring falcon over a crescent moon. Their words, as high as honor. The Aarons are direct descendants of the Andal invaders, who sailed across the narrow sea and came ashore at the Fingers. According to legend,
so they came ashore in the Vale?
As the Winged Knight soared through the sky atop a giant falcon, landing on the peak of the highest mountain, where he
really
defeated
is the Age of
Griffin
Heroes
King in battle.
Whoa.
It was the Andal's first great victory over the First Men, and Sir Artus was duly rewarded. He was declared King of the Mountain and the Vale, and the region was renamed the Vale of Aaron. Thousands of years later, Aegon the Conqueror arrived in Westeros. House Aaron bent the knee to Aegon and his dragons, and were allowed to maintain the control of the region as Lords Paramount of the Vale and Wardens of the East. Over the centuries, House Aaron remained loyal to the Targaryen dynasty until Lord Jon Arryn joined with Houses Baratheon and Stark in rebellion against Mad King Aerys. Upon winning the Iron Throne, Robert named Lord Jon Hand of the King, a position he held until his mysterious death.
House Lannister by Tywin Lannister. I wonder how this is gonna be.
On the far western coast of
Yeah,
the
right.
continent,
I would like to
high
hear it
atop a
from
rocky
Tyrion,
promontory
but
overlooking the Sunset Sea, sits Casterly Rock, ancestral seat of House Lannister. Below it lies Lannisport, one of the great cities of Westeros, a center for trade, culture, and the great Lannister fleet. There are a number of gold and silver mines in the Westerlands, making it the richest region in all of Westeros. One of the most productive mines lies beneath Casterly Rock itself, making House Lannister
Gold
the
mines.
wealthiest of all the noble houses. This allows House Lannister to finance many endeavors of other noble
They're
houses.
just mining gold.
Even the king himself has sought credit from
Is that why they
Casterly
always
Rock
say
from time
Lannister
to
always
time.
pays its debts? Because
Yeah,
they're
because
literally
they're-
sitting on a gold mine?
They're filthy rich.
From the Andal
They could just
invaders,
mine some up.
and through the female
I mean, just go
bloodline,
digging quick,
Lan the
guys.
Clever. According to the legend, Lan, using only his wits, won Casterly Rock from the noble House of Casterly during the Age of Heroes. The Lannisters reigned as kings of the Rock for thousands of years, and worked to make it the envy of the rest of the Seven Kingdoms. Our time as kings ended, however, when Aegon Targaryen, otherwise known as Aegon the Conqueror, arrived in Westeros with his army. The last king of the Rock, King Lorin Lannister, joined forces with King Mern Gardner, the king of the Reach. Together, with 60,000 men, they met the Targaryen host in open battle. History tells us that Aegon unleashed all 3 of his dragons, slaughtering 4,000 men. in What came to be known
At least it wasn't
as the
all
Field of
40,
Fire.
you know?
King Mern himself was burned
All
alive
60.
that day, and House Gardner turned to ash with him. Seeing both the threat and opportunity the Targaryens represented, Lorin wisely surrendered and aided Aegon in his further conquest of Westeros. The Lannisters were thus appointed Lords Paramount of the Westerlands and Wardens of the West, titles we hold to this day.
I like how he says it with like
Let us be clear, though. It is
vehementance
neither luck nor royal favor that makes our
in
house
his
prosperous.
voice. Like he hates it.
There have been times in our history where some have thought us weak, lazy, or opulent. My father, Titus Lannister, nearly bankrupted our house with his poor investments.
Wow.
And allowed himself to be mocked openly at court. When our vassal, the Rains of Castamere, dared to rise up against the Lannisters, they learned how dangerous it can be to taunt a lion. I, Tywin Lannister, led the assault on Castamere to put down this rebellion. I made an example of them, to anyone who doubts our might. They even made a quaint song about the fates of the Rains of Castamere. Sadly, there are no rains left to hear it. Today, the Golden Lion of Lannister is rightly admired and feared throughout the Seven Kingdoms.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Our words are, hear me roar.
Yeah.
But there are other words that should be remembered when crossing a Lion of Casterly Rock. A Lannister always pays his debts.
I can't count how many times it has been said in
Yeah.
the series we have said.
Lannister.
My goodness gracious.
The Starks of Winterfell trace their
Bran
descent
Stark
to
and
the
Robb
first
Stark.
men in the Age of Heroes. The family's founder was Brandon the Builder, who, in the aftermath of the Long Night, helped establish the Night's Watch. Legend has it he enlisted the aid of giants and the powerful magic of the Children of the Forest to raise the mighty wall, which has protected the realm for generations.
Yeah, that's what I'm
He went
confused
on to
on.
build the
Is the
ancestral
Children of the
seat of
Forest
Winterfell
magic and
and
dragon
reigned as the
magic
first king
different?
in the north.
The Starks reigned as kings for thousands of years, even withstanding the invasion of the Andals. As the southern kingdoms fell and the Children of the Forest were driven away, the north stood strong, maintaining its religious customs and its way of life. Eventually, the reign of the Kings of Winter came to an end with the coming of Aegon the Conqueror. After Aegon and
They're
his
just both
dragons
different
destroyed
magical
the
beings.
combined armies of the Reach and the Rock at the Field of Fire, King Torrhen Stark bent the knee and swore fealty to the Targaryen dynasty in order to spare the destruction of Winterfell and his people. He was forever after known as the King Who Knelt. As a reward for his submission, Aegon named Torrhen Lord of Winterfell and Warden of the North.
The Starks take great pride in their history and traditions. It is one of the few noble houses that still keeps the old gods. A sacred weirwood tree looms large in Winterfell's Godswood. Its ancestral sword, Ice, was forged in ancient Valyria and has been passed down through the generations. House Stark remains steadfast in its
That's his
support
sword.
of the Night's Watch,
Yeah.
even as the once illustrious order has fallen on hard
He
times.
was killed by
Much like their sigil, the Grey Dire,
the one he
House Stark is the stuff of legend in the
like
North
was
and
used
throughout the
against
Seven
him and then was used
and their
to
family
kill the guy
words,
in the first episode
winter is
too.
coming.
Serve as a reminder of their beginnings in the wake of the long night, and a grim portent of things to come.
Oh,
I like how they said that at the same time.
yes, I do too. That was killing.
Wow. Let me turn that off. Oh my god.
There was so much information packed. But
Yeah.
different ways too. So it's like understanding different ways the information was packed
Yeah.
at once.
Wow. That's hard to take in. That's hard to, like, as a first time watching, it's hard to, like, absorb everything. I hope you guys understand that we are trying. We got most of it. I got most of it on that watching. And we thank you guys for helping us along the way.
Mm-hmm. I noticed that throughout it. That
Yeah.
everyone had changed. Oh, we're gonna help them. Actually, we're gonna lie to you and help someone else.
Yeah.
And then gang up.
That's Game of Thrones. They
I
like
know.
they
That's
say
what I'm
one
saying.
thing, then something else.
That's what I'm saying. Everything. There's so many connections.
Yeah.
And
There's so
I
much
understand it why.
history of these people who fought against each other, with each other in different times, and then like joined forces. Like it is. Oh yeah. That I think that is the best part of this. It's not just a lore video, it's not just a talking head like the whole way through. It is the characters who played their parts and like explaining it in the context of like how they would actually think about it, that is some next level. Whoever came up with that idea is a genius, and it should be done for like every single show that has like a big lore like Game of Thrones, which isn't a lot, obviously. Like,
Oh, okay. I understand now. But magic exists even. Okay. The more magic, the more dragons come. Okay. That, you've cleared me. Bunch of
Yeah.
answers. Magic exists even though no dragons, but less with dragons. Okay. It's
yeah,
hard to see.
I understand like everyone where they come from, and is what they perceive in their opinion of it, and it's based on facts. It's based on what they actually feel, and like each individual fan, and in this instance, each individual character comes at it from their own perspective, and it's masterfully done. That was like one of the best lore videos I've ever seen. When I'm like talking about like seeing lore videos of like Lord of the Rings. Lots of discussion about the dragons and magic and stuff. It is something that probably doesn't have a lot of concrete information about. And I don't have a ton of opinions on it. I'm just absorbing what you guys are giving me and kind of forming my own hypothesis, but it's not like set in stone at this point.
I have a question for them.
Yeah.
When the witch who was trying to save Khal Drogo said that she delivered Daenerys' son, but it was scaled and like a dragon, did she give birth to a dragon egg or a dragon, or was she just saying that
it was scaled like a lizard? And
yes,
did she give birth to a dragon?
or
like, was it a dragon that came out of her?
Or was she just being,
or was she being like extra about it?
Yes. Oh, whoa.
So obviously it was like just okay.
Oh, dang.
So it literally was a dragon. So like the context of her giving her rebirth in the fire of Khal Drogo's like funeral pyre, and her like having the dragons around her and being born was literally like actually the case.
That's crazy.
Like she was giving birth to them. Kind of.
When they were doing their own stories of H and L, you could feel their anger in different parts, and their sadness and their power.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it was so good the way everyone had their own discussions and parts to it.
Yeah.
It was good, but it was kind of confusing for me at least. Understanding each way.
If you're I'm more attuned to like absorbing thick amounts of information in like sittings, just because I look at lore videos of like Lord of the Rings and just binge them for hours, like in my personal time. So like this is just as thick, just as detailed as those.
I'm sure it'll come to me more as I think about it and stuff.
Yeah, and we're only on the first season too, and we're only a few episodes into the second season. So there are more lore videos. There are more times we're gonna like come to like a conclusion about something.
I am a Ravenclaw. How'd you notice?
Because she's got the Ravenclaw diadem.
Yes. Well, I couldn't get the actual diadem. That's the An actual diadem, like how you have the stink. Yeah, that's. People don't make it that nicely, so I just.
I'm glad it's not so heavily stated in the show, because it leaves some for us to discover, like outside the show. In the books, like you can't make a one for one to a book to an adaptation. And I like a lot of people get upset that you can't exactly transfer what the book says to what the show is, and I get both sides of that. A Hufflepuff.
What? You're a Hufflepuff. That's my second house.
That's my second house too.
What's your first house?
I think I don't remember. What was it?
It was Slytherin.
Yeah.
And
I
then
know.
it was Hello, Hermione. Well, come on up. Violet Ravenclaw.
That's good.
Yes, that's a very... Well, come on.
We will, and in the future, when the future comes, we will watch Harry Potter. It's not gonna be like a first watching,
No.
but we're still gonna have fun with it, and we're still gonna do lore videos because I haven't seen a lot of it. Like obviously, her fandom is Harry Potter, and mine is Lord of the Rings. In the books, the Targaryens have purple eyes. That's interesting to know. When 2X1 is going to be on YouTube next Monday. We're gonna continue with the week to week. Just so you guys are aware, you probably already know, but this is all our YouTube is part-time, and I work on basically videos on all of my off time. So whenever I'm not working my actual job, I'm doing YouTube, and I'm the one that edits everything and does all of the like making thumbnails, doing the descriptions, all the little things to make the videos happen. She makes all the shorts.
I do. I have fun with those.
Yep.
Someone asked, have we ever watched Handmaid's Tale?
Handmaiden's Tale?
Yeah,
no, we have not. I have not seen it. Yep, I do it all in my spare time. Yes. So right now we're doing Avatar. The only reason why we're doing Avatar is because I have a little extra time to do like a 30 minute video, because the episodes of Avatar are only 30 minutes. Episodes of Game of Thrones are like an hour. So like an hour and 30 minutes of editing is 5 times that. So like 5 to 10. So it takes me like 8 to 20 hours ish to do all the videos for the week. And that's pretty much all the time I got. Well, on Patreon, it is watchable. The watch-alongs are definitely watchable on Patreon, if you know what I mean. They're 100% watchable. You can watch it and get all of our perspective from it, but if you want to check it out, go sign up. It's free to sign up for Patreon. And then for the YouTube is just strictly the watch along. So if you want to do that too, and I discount it to the Patreon price, it's only $2 US for the YouTube membership. So if you guys want to be a YouTube member, when I Here's a big caveat. If you want to see our regular episodes, they come out Monday normally, but I'm generally done with them by like Saturday or Sunday. And I put them on the members on the $2 tier. It's called the Immersive Crew. So you could get the episode 2-3 days early and all the watch longs.
What was Bran's maester of? Was he maester of magic or healing or?
Maria is very knowledgeable about, and she's writing a book, by the way, that I probably have to talk to her about at some point. What?
If Bran's maester knows about magic, wouldn't he get feelings on his chain and knowing in his soul or whatever it is that magic has come back? Because then the Bran's maester.
Maester Lewin, yeah.
Yes. Wouldn't he know that there is magic coming
I
back
don't
by
think
his
he...
dreams and stuff? Why would he push them aside if he knows?
That's something for the second season. But
okay.
I think he just is skeptical about magic. In general. I don't think he like believes in it, like everyone's saying. Yeah, that's what I came to a conclusion of in our episode 3 of season 2 breakdown, is that he tried so hard to like get magic, like feel like he had the power to study magic and then harness it, and then when he didn't, he got so like upset by that he's like, magic just doesn't exist. I don't believe it. Yeah, that's how he got his link, because he tried to do magic himself and he couldn't do it. He's a data guy. I don't see any results here. There's no magic.
Well.
All right. Well.
It was fun doing this.
Yes. It was
I enjoyed it.
Wonderful to have you all along. And it's going to be wonderful to... We're doing a watch party of season 1 in a week or so. A lot more casual than normal. It's just going to be us like just watching the show like as normal people. Not trying to be entertaining for a video and just having fun. So, and that'll be in a week. So I'll post on community, on YouTube community, when I'll do that.
Yeah.
And on Patreon when I'll do that. And make sure to like. You're all talking here, so you're obviously subscribed. If you didn't realize, only subscribers can chat on my live streams.
It really humbles that we have all these people that are sharing
their
wonderful
opinions.
fandom with us.
Yeah.
And they're patient. Not saying you guys are this. It's nice.
Yeah.
It really is. It's very welcoming.
We're trying to understand it, and we do thank you for being patient, and we thank you for watching, and you've revived the channel. Literally, I said it before, but you've revived the channel. I was done, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do one more thing. I'm gonna shake it up. I'm not gonna do a movie. I'm gonna do Game of Thrones. Never saw it, and was really interested in seeing it, and was like, I got this YouTube channel that I can do it through, and hopefully some people will watch, and a lot of you people will watch.
Yes.
And we love it.
It's like a breath of fresh air.
Yes. All right. Yes, you all are passionate people. We love it. And have a good rest of your days, nights,
Whatever
little
it
bit of
be.
weekend, and we'll see you next time. We'll see you next time on
Immersive Reaction. Thanks for watching.
Peace. Oh, wait.
You have to do your thing.
The North remembers.